Nick, and we'd like to welcome you to our show tonight. Nick is a local poet. You might have seen him shouting out street poetry.
I have 5 chat-books.
Yes, 5 chat-books, and they're available for only $3.
Only $3.
Right, Nick? And I'm Jennie Moench, of course. I'm a local painter, artist, activist, film producer,
writer,
publisher.
She has 3
Pretty
books.
much everything under the sun. Actually, I have books online. You can see at my website, warriorpublicationsinc.com, or you can go to Pages Bookstore right down here, buy them yourself. Or you can come to Creative Collab Night this Wednesday from 7 to 10 and see some of my awesome creations and be in my awesome videos, which you're probably watching now. Effective, isn't it? Well, anyways, you're probably watching us on Public Access TV, Comcast Channel 17.
And Mondays at 6 o'clock.
Well, that's probably Monday at 6 o'clock right now. But do know that we have much longer shows available on our website, flintunderground.org, especially in terms of music quality, because you know we only get 59 minutes on TV, which is great and all, but it's certainly not enough to give you all the art we want to give you guys. So check us out online, flintunderground.org, probably located right here on the screen. And we usually have at least 4 more songs from our musicians, a little more content, bloopers.
Right, yeah, I have to cut. Sometimes it's really painful to try to cut some of the interviews. Yeah, it might be, you never know.
Yeah, so if you want to see some real cool stuff, go online and check it out.
Yeah, you can also buy stuff like these really cool shirts. I think Pauly designed the front of the shirt.
Yeah, that's a very sweet shirt. And what's he doing there? Is he putting his finger on?
He's giving the official Flint Underground sign.
I like it, I like it.
Yeah.
Do you know this is sandwich for you? Probably didn't at home. You do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. So you're probably at home wondering, who are these strange people who call themselves a creative alliance? Well, I'll tell you. We are members of a group that is made up of artists and activists. We are painters, poets, organizers, dancers, actors, models, photographers, filmmakers, writers, DJs, musicians, designers, comedians, and performers. Our mission is to organize events and activities that support art and culture and education in our community. We want to encourage an atmosphere that makes people proud to live in Flint. If this sounds like an organization that you'd be interested in joining, we meet at Churchill's every Wednesday at 7 o'clock in this downtown Saginaw Street across from U of M Flint, except for that 3rd Wednesday of the month where we have our Creative Collab Night, which is an open mic and open canvas down at Good Beans Cafe from 7 to 10. It's also free. And we're having it this week, aren't we, Jennie?
We're having it for Wednesday, and that's also videotaped, so you can see yourself on TV and on the website if you come and you sign in, and you can do poetry or comedy.
Paint on a canvas. What's the usually the starter image that Jennie does? What's the starter image this month?
Right now, I don't know. We'll find out. It'll be a surprise. It's a surprise image. You know, another thing too that we also have on the Flint Underground is the art walk videos. And those are becoming very popular, and I'm telling you, Pauly does a great job at Churchill's. Every month, the art walk is every 2nd Friday. Pauly's got this great art show that has a lot of new artists in it, and I'm seeing them not only being able to show their art for the first time, a lot of times, but also they're being able to sell their art. A lot of their art is selling. It's giving them a chance. And then the other thing you get to do is just kind of hang out by your art. People have to say about it, you know.
Right, yeah,
so it's a great
It's like the only spot downtown that also takes the Flint Underground name. It's the only spot downtown that actually lets young emerging artists show and sell their work. So it's definitely worth checking out. If you guys haven't met Pauly or checked it out yet, I think he's available on Facebook, Pauly and Everett, so search him.
And there's also music being played there, so if you're a musician, and if you're an artist that's established too, you might also, or you would also like to be there, because there are established artists as well as new artists. I just wanted to plug the new ones because I know they're really excited about being there.
And it's cool with the music because it's the only one of the art walk venues that actually goes till 2 a.m. So yeah, that's an added bonus. Everything else is closed by 11.
Right, so as soon as if you're at the art walk, everything's closing, go down to Churchill's and you can still watch more art.
If I tell you there's a cover, just say F you, you know.
Yeah.
That's the password. So today in the studio we're going to have some interviews that we did with John Sinclair, the great, and Ben Horner, who's a local activist. We did those interviews out in Grand Rapids. Right. So you guys can see that video.
Yeah. And we're also going to have music by Brant.
Yeah, Brant Losinski from Rootstand.
Yeah. He was on our show once before when we were doing it as a podcast.
Yeah, the early shows.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm anxious to have him on again because he's going to play some music. And also he's working on a book, so we're going to talk about that. And then John Sinclair, of course, if you don't know who John Sinclair is, he is a public figure. I mean, the Beatles wrote a song about him, so he's pretty famous.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And that was a lot of fun. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So let's just jump into the events right now over there. Friday, April 26th from 7 to 11:30 at the Flint Local 432, where we're at right now, will be Kenneth Michael, Fernando Solis, Christina McCollum, Hadley Street, and Maria Rose. So check that show out. At the Whitey, Friday, April 26th, same day, 8 p.m., and also the next day, April 27th at 2 and 8. The Addams Family is going to be performed, and that's a traveling show, I assume.
Oh yeah, and it's really good. I saw it in Chicago. It had different actors in the cast, but I'm sure it's the same play.
Sure,
it's really good.
Sure. It's
a lot of fun.
30 to 70 bucks. Pretty family. At the New Beginnings, holistic, I don't know what you call it, the New Beginnings place in Bergen, New Beginnings Fair, which is holistic services, tarot readings, palm readings, psychic readings, massage therapy, hypnotherapy, energy healing, Reiki, all that cool stuff. I think it's free to come out. It's open noon to 8 p.m. every week from Wednesday to Saturday. Walk-ins welcome. Just check that out. That's off Court Street in Bergen. The Art Gallery of Swartz Creek is having a show April 28th from 1 until 4 p.m. featuring the work of William Calendler, pardon me, William, from Swartz Creek, who served duty in Iraq, was wounded, now lives in Massachusetts, recreates and designs amazing art. So check that out, Swartz Creek. May 3rd through May 5th, Flint Public Art Project is holding the Free City Festival. That'll be down in Shedding the Hole, where they're bringing international, national, local artists. Actually, Pauly, our camera person here, is doing a large mural on the side of the Michigan Compassion Center of Flint history. It's like a 20 by 80 foot mural, so it's definitely something to check out. We're doing it live during the show. Again, that's May 3rd through 5th, the weekend down in Shedding the Hole all day. There is an arthritis walk, which sounds really difficult. It's Friday, May 3rd, in Camp City on Flint. Check that out. There's a student art show Saturday, May 4th at the Art Gallery of Swartz Creek with work from students from all over Genesee County.
Right. They have a nice little gallery. It's near the corner of Miller and Morris Roads, but it's on Miller Road. And it's a nice little gallery, and I know they're trying really hard to get that going, jumpstart that. So make sure you patronize them. Patronize them.
I don't know which one's right. We'll find
Okay.
There will be at the New Beginnings Fair up on Court Street, off Court Street in Burton. Natasha Thomas Jackson will be doing a course, Learn the Art of Eye Chaining, Saturday, May 4th from 1 to 4 p.m. Check that out, sounds pretty cool. Sunday, May 5th from 1 to 3, there is Dr. Mom training at the Yoga Path off Irish Road in Davison, which is an hour-long workshop designed to show how essential oils can help moms handle everyday kid stuff.
Oh, yes, it looked like a Dr. Mom on the graphic. I remember that.
Dr. Mom. Rounding it out, Saturday, May 11th from 11 to 3 p.m. There will be a Crim Festival of Bicycles, I believe, downtown Flint.
Yeah, Bike the Blue, then enjoy the brew.
Bike the Blue, then enjoy the brew. So bring your bike, have fun, get drunk. That's May 11th, 11
Don't
to
fall
3.
off your bike.
Don't fall off. 412 South Second downtown. And last but not least, same day, May 11th, that evening, Flint Local 432 from 7 to 11:30. 76 Seconds to Oblivion, which we had on this show a couple months ago. Before Midnight, Blood of the Unborn, Rabbit Ain't Lucky, which I hear is pretty good, and Disorder. So check all that out. That'll be May 11th.
The Rabbit Ain't Lucky, that's the father and children band, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But they play really heavy metal music. We had them at Churchill's before. I think I saw them there. Okay, so anyway. Well, now that we're filming here at the Flint Local 432, and they're now charging us to use the space, so that's really cut down on our cost. So if anyone's interested in being an underwriter and supporting the Creative Alliance, then it's only $10 for 60 seconds. So it's either, two 30-second commercials or one 60-second commercial. And actually, if you wanted to, you could also put your commercials on the Art Walk video or the Collab Night video. And people haven't been doing that yet, but I keep explaining that you can do that. If you look, it's another way you can spend your $10.
Or the Monday night programs here at 6 o'clock.
So anyway, I think that's really inexpensive.
Yeah.
And we're getting more and more sponsors. In fact, we've got some new ones today with commercials.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
let's see our underwriters for the
I
month.
think let's do
Let's go
that.
with that.
Page's Bookstore is locally owned and is located at 132 West 2nd Street in downtown Flint at Buckham Alley. Showcase for local authors and artists. Visit during the second Friday Art Walk.
Welcome to the Lunch Studio, Flint's fresh alternative. We've been downtown Flint since 2001. When we first opened, there were only a couple places downtown where people could get an affordable and healthy lunch. Now there are a lot more choices for the growing downtown community, and that's a good thing.
At the Lunch Studio, we serve lunches made with the best ingredients at the best possible prices and always with a smile. All our soup and chili is made in-house daily. We have daily lunch specials and delicious breakfast sandwiches too. If you're in a hurry or on a short break, call ahead, dine in, or grab it and go. We offer many healthy and vegetarian options, and we can also accommodate most any special diet. We also offer half of 2 different sandwiches in case you just can't make up your mind.
We buy locally whenever possible, and we're very active in the community. We are proud and excited to be a part of the revitalization going on in downtown Flint, a place that we have always loved. Here at the Lunch Studio, we think lunch should be one of the highlights of your day.
Get a fresh start for yourself and your family by using your tax return to get rid of your debt. Hi, I'm attorney Fred Myers, and for over 25 years, I have been your local bankruptcy attorney helping you in our community. Eliminate your credit card debt, avoid your utility shutoff, and stop those harassing phone calls. Now's the perfect time to make a huge change in your life in a positive way. There's only one phone call you need to make, and that's 810-238-0900.
Now, our guests are going to be John Sinclair and Ben Horner. We want to do a little bit of introduction first. In case you don't know who John Sinclair is, he was born here in Flint, but he grew up in Davison. He went to the University of Michigan. But he is the co-founder of the Artist Workshop Press. He was a music editor and columnist for Detroit's Fifth Estate and a local correspondent for Downbeat. I know he used to do like reviews of music in Ann Arbor and stuff too.
Yeah, jazz reviews and things like that.
Or all music bands, because he told me a little story about somebody that got mad at him for giving him a bad, because he gave him a bad review. So I know he was doing it for all the music in Ann Arbor too as well. Later on, maybe. He also was a booking agent for MC5 and the Stooges, and that was back in 1967. By the way, if you don't know who MC5 and the Stooges, I've heard about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The MC5 are the ones that are kicking out the jams.
Yeah. And then he also created, the thing that I thought was really interesting is that he was such an activist. He created the White Panther Party.
Right.
And the White Panther Party was in sympathy for the Black Panther Party because he saw how the, it was during the Civil Rights era, back in 1968, and he saw what was happening in Detroit and how the blacks were being treated and suppressed and all the bad things that were being said about them that were not true. And so in sympathy, he created the White Panthers. And their bylaws, he told me that the first bylaw was that all of the bylaws of the Black Panthers were the first rules. And then after that, and he said that his brother said, I heard his brother interviewed once, and his brother said that he wanted to be in the Black Panthers, but they wouldn't let him, but because he was white.
Yeah, he talks about that, I think, in his book. They got that guitar army.
Oh yeah, and the guitar army, yes, and then he wrote this book.
Right.
Actually,
that's him on the front there.
Yeah, that's him on the front. And this is a real famous book, if you haven't seen it. It's a great book. And it's really interesting. And then in 69 to 71, then that's when he was sentenced for 9.5 to 10 years for possession of 2 marijuana cigarettes. And what he explains in the interview to
Otherwise known as joints, by the way.
is that he didn't even sell them to anyone. He gave them to someone. That's what he explains.
Undercover cop, yeah.
Yeah, and they sentenced him to 9.5 to 10 years. But I think that the real reason why he had such a tough sentence was because he was such an activist and he was so vocal and trying to get those laws overturned. And he was a writer. I mean, you know, he wrote about things and he had the newspaper, so he was very vocal about it. And so then they had, in 1971, 15,000 people attended the Free John Now rally, and it was headlined by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And that's when they wrote a song and about John Sinclair. And that actually, only 3 days after the concert, the Michigan Supreme Court ordered John Sinclair released.
Right, and by doing that, didn't it decriminalize marijuana in Ann Arbor, and that's why that hash bash is to celebrate that?
Oh, you know what? It was, okay, there was, I was reading about that in one of his articles too. There was a time period when the one law was being revoked and the new one hadn't started. And it was, and that time period ended on April 1st. And so in retaliation or to show defiance, that's when they had the first hash bash where everybody lit up on the 1st of April, which was the day they were supposed to stop, you know, when it was illegal again. That's what I thought I understood from reading this article. But anyway, that's where the hash bash started. And I heard all kinds of crazy stuff about how the hash bash in Ann Arbor started. And but that was the story that John.
And then I know after he got out of jail, the White Panther Party had grown into what became a Rainbow People's Party. And that's kind of shown in the book there.
Really?
That it's like all colors, multiracial type situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Or a new type of nation type of thing. That's what he was really advocating for at a certain point. Yeah.
And now he holds the radio feed Free Amsterdam because he now lives sometimes in Amsterdam and sometimes here in the United States. Well, I think
He lives in Amsterdam.
he lives in Amsterdam full time, but he's here a lot. He's just here. Yeah, I think he's here periodically and does different kinds of benefits. Well, he was doing a benefit in Detroit, and then he did the Creole Pig for the Haitian people in Grand Rapids, and then from there he went to New Orleans for some other.
Yeah, he had lived in New Orleans too before he moved to Amsterdam.
So he's always doing all kinds of benefits and activism, and he spends a lot of time just doing free things for the good.
Well, and you know, in connection with Ben Hunters, he's been writing articles for the last many issues for the Empty Number Board, which Ben Hunter produces locally here.
In fact, this is a cover of their newest.
Right, the newest one, John Sinclair on it.
And I believe this is the magazine that I read the article where he talks about hash bash and how it started.
Yep, it's the one they gave out.
And Ben Warner is he? I asked him about it in the interview. Is he really the owner of the magazine, the publisher of the magazine?
I think he's the publisher of the magazine.
But he has Michigan Organics there on York Highway. Do you ever notice that store?
Right.
So
what we were doing in Grand Rapids, we went up there. He was performing a show, like an online podcast, kind of like what we're doing, called Radio Free Amsterdam, where he plays usually MP3s based on African diasporic type music, like blues and early American music, New Orleans stuff. This was a really cool event because he flew into there and they had turntables and actual records for him, which he doesn't usually have, he said. So it was a completely different experience, and it was a live show inside this ice cream gallery that they have out there in Grand Rapids. He's with the turntables.
It says ice cream and toys, but it really is an art gallery.
Right, there was no ice cream. I asked for ice cream.
We wanted ice cream. No, there was. If you look at FlintUnderground.org, you should be able to see the video, and it's called John Sinclair in Grand Rapids. I mean the video that we, if you want to see what we did while we were in Grand Rapids. So anyway, Nick and Pauly and Emma and I all went to Grand Rapids, and we went to the festival, and then John got there and he did his radio show, and then we went to meet him at his hotel afterwards so we could interview him. And we got it all set up in the lobby of the hotel. Pauly had it all set up, the camera and everything, and to turn it on. And then
So really funny because she had been using it for the entire night from the John Sinclair show.
It's the same camera we've had
Same
forever.
camera. We had just set up this whole thing. It's maybe like 12:30 by this point. And we waited all
Oh, it was really late, yeah.
We're sitting there in the hotel bar and turn the camera on, and it's just this like gray line, static across the lens, no actual images. So we're stuck. We had all this set up, and we finally got it, and we can't do anything with it. So we asked, we kind of put it up in the air, and Ben thankfully had his digital camera, which was a nice photo camera that could take video. Oh, let's tell the story though. Let's tell the story, not just cut ourselves off. So we get the camera, we're all ready. It works for like 5, 10, maybe 15 seconds. Pure awesome interview. And the memory card runs out of space. So we're in the same boat we are. We have 2 cameras now that don't work. Thankfully, we had some friends with us, and we had multiple iPhones trying to capture the rest of this conversation. But I'll tell you right now, it was an amazing experience to be able to ask John Sinclair this kind of question. So just
listening to him talk.
Yeah, just the realness that he has. I asked for some messages for you guys at home in Flint, to young poets out there, because he's also a poet. I don't know if we mentioned that, but that's like his main artistic focus.
Yes,
Has poetry there.
This is all poetry.
Fattening frogs for snakes, and I know that his column online is fattening blogs for snakes or something funny like that too. So
yeah, he's a poet and a writer. He writes the articles in Ben's magazine, and Ben also writes articles for his own magazine. And he is really up on marijuana laws, and he's an activist for marijuana, of course, because he runs Michigan Organics. So Ben, I'd like to talk to more too, but since we had John, and we were kind of like,
so you're gonna see a really interesting video for sure. It's piecemealed together,
and it's not very loud, so you might have to turn your
volume way up.
Yeah,
it's
but
okay.
anyway,
It's worth it.
You want to watch it?
Let's watch it right now. Let's check it out.
The other Corey.
Her husband, who started the pizza joint in the pier. So sorry for their career choice. Fine musicians.
Music, yeah.
I used to love playing with them. Churchills.
Well, that's so important. What's your message to Flint these days? What do you have to say to the people that are still there?
Congratulations.
Right.
Surviving.
Yeah.
And the advances that Flint has made in terms of medical marijuana, in terms of the magazine, Michigan Medical Marijuana Report coming out of Flint. I'm proud to be a contributor to that.
By the way, I did read your article about guns and anti-guns.
Oh yeah,
I was
curious.
Well, I was wondering if you would likely have penned that same article back when you were organizing the White Panthers.
No, because we were followers of the Black Panther Party. And the most basic organizing concepts was that they needed to defend themselves against the police. And the heroics of the Black Panther Party started with their initial patrols of the Oakland, California community where they were located. Huey P. Newton and other original members of the party used to go out at night at 2 o'clock in the morning with the bars and go out, and they would follow the police around, and when they stopped people and harassed them, they would stop and they would cover with a shotgun and a copy of the U.S. Constitution. And they would say, what are you doing to these people? So, to me, that was the ultimate act of bravery.
But you don't think that it's not like it was, it's not the Wild
Well, if the police didn't have all those guns, then we wouldn't have to have them.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
See, in today's society, everybody's got heavily armed. The police are heavily armed more than you could possibly imagine. The criminals are heavily armed. And then all the squares are heavily armed because they're worried about the criminals. But really, people that kill each other, most of them, they know each other. And if they didn't have a gun, they would have to beat each other up, or they have to kill them with a pipe wrench or a knife or something. I don't know. Guns were all right when you had Frontier. They're deeply embedded in our historical culture.
I think
Why do you need to go?
they've outlived their
Why do you
usefulness.
even have to kill a deer?
Yeah.
I don't get
They
it.
got
I
grocery
like
stores
deer.
now.
You know? Why do you have to kill a pheasant? You know, I mean, shoot some clay pigeons. If you're just trying to get your nuts off.
And
You know what I mean?
and as poor as we are in Flint, I still haven't noticed people like, shooting squirrels or those big old groundhogs
See?
that rule the city. I
Well,
really, so they're not too
What
terrible.
they like to do is go out in a
Shoot people.
tree, like a rapist, and wait for a deer to come and shoot them, you know?
Right.
I don't know. I'm not one to take people's fun away from them, but Jesus, what about the poor little deers?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's all, they can play basketball, they can do, there must be some other way to exercise their male yearning to show how bad they are, you know? I don't know.
Now, I've got 2 of your books.
But the last thing I would want in the world is a gun. Because if I had a gun, I'd probably shoot somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
I lose my
special.
temper. I try not to lose my temper anymore. I used to have a much worse temper.
It's one
I
of those
try not to lose my temper, but man, if I lost my temper and I had a gun, I'd shoot a motherfucker in a minute.
Just right there.
And I'd
Right?
end up doing life in prison and they'd be gone.
Yes, it would be
Whoa, I'm not
It would
there.
be terrible. You're right.
The pen's mightier than the sword.
And to me, I was looking at it in the context of the war on drugs. You say, well, how about a war on guns? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
drugs aren't doing anything to anybody. I mean, they're just something that people do
Yeah.
in their heads.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It doesn't
usually-
maim or cripple anybody if you have
Yeah.
a joint or even
Yeah, they're usually
snorts some
not.
cocaine or
No.
shoot some heroin. Somebody else isn't going to die. You might die, but that's your choice. I don't know. I mean, I hate to boil it down like that, but I just hate all this. The police, heavily armed police, and then busting into your house, or like the Supreme Court just told me they couldn't have a dog trolling your street to see if you could smell your grow operation, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they do every possible
Yeah.
ugly, unconstitutional,
Yeah.
inhumane thing that they can think of in the name of this war on drugs.
Yeah, it is crazy.
There's more drugs than ever.
And the people that are having their
The guy said, if you
lives-
got a prescription for narcotics,
Yeah.
you pay a doctor, and he gives you a prescription, you can get as loaded as the
Right.
worst
It's funny
junkie
what
in
we
the
value.
world.
You know, what's socially acceptable is the worst thing for you. You get addicted to something, primarily heroin, but you can't go out and smoke a joint. You know.
Geez, I read a story the other day about the kids. You know, I've always wondered. When I was in college, I used to take a lot of speed because I like to stay up all night. And then, of course, you never studied and never had the tests, so you had to do it the night before. But I used to take these pills, and then years later, I read that they give these to 4-year-old kids because their attention.
Right.
They can't pay attention to the bullshit that they give them in school.
Yeah.
It's a good way to phrase it. The bullshit they give them,
You
right?
know,
Stuff they just
So
kind
they
of
give them
shut down.
Ritalin.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine. When I used to take speed, Ritalin would be like the worst, you know. All right, and they give them to these kids. Well, I heard a story that's way overprescribed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they created a whole generation of kids that are strung out on these drugs.
Well, it's better than having emotions, right?
I mean, it made me to have a curious intelligence that doesn't stay in one channel for 3 hours. I don't know what they want, but
The drug war too is also ruining all people's lives by putting them in prison. How
That's
do you
the
take
worst part.
Yeah, they separate the children from the parents, and then they cause you to be ruined and not be able to work afterward because you've got this on your. I mean, how can you be a nurse? I have a friend that she's trained to be a nurse, but she can't be a nurse because she got busted for marijuana.
also, you know, if you're a welfare recipient, you're a really poor person, but public housing, you can be expelled from your public housing. You can lose your college scholarship.
Yeah.
I mean, they got all these consequences that really don't have nothing to do with smoking weed and getting high.
What it has to do with is people like Bill Shooty and their moral objection to the law. You know, they don't want to follow the letter of the law. They want to find ways around it.
lasted for what, 2 years for 2 joints? I mean, it's gotten better since then.
9.5 to 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With no appeal bond.
And
I think it's the same type of attitude.
Giving 2 joints away.
so, and you gave them away, you didn't
That's
sell
right,
them.
I did not sell. I was not a seller of marijuana. Not that I have anything against those who are, because I'm not their customer.
Yeah.
Or their client, or their, I'm the one they give their care to.
Yeah, I've gotten.
In today's parlance.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I have your Guitar Army book. I have that, and I also have Fattening Frogs to Feed the
Fattening
Snakes.
Frogs for Snakes, my blues were.
Yeah, I got that. And I didn't see that on the table over there. So you have
I
any
did
other
a concert
books?
yesterday in Dearborn with the University of Michigan. And we did the whole first part of Fattening Frogs for Snakes.
Do you have it? I noticed a couple other books too. Do you have a couple more books besides those two?
Yeah, it's hard to get my books. Oh, I guess they have them at Amazon. Hard to find. It's hard. You know, it's hard in today's world to get a book published, but it's even hard to keep it in print. Because if you publish them, I usually get rid of them on my performances. When people want to take some home.
Yeah.
And once they're gone for me, they're gone. So it's hard to keep them in print, but yeah, I've got quite a lot of.
You have a publisher then?
Well,
Not a stand, I occasionally convince somebody to put one out.
something I always appreciate, I don't know, the poet myself is, you know, like Guitar Army, you guys published that yourself in the workshop, right?
Well, not that one. We had a real publisher for that. They paid in advance and they printed it and sent it.
Oh, that was right after you got out of jail.
Yeah.
So you were popular then.
Well, they didn't know I was gonna get out. They actually arranged it when I was still in prison.
Were they betting that you would stay there for a while so they could
Well, I
see
had
what it
9
was?
after 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I got out through a miracle because John Lennon
Yeah.
and Stevie Wonder. and
Was
all
it
these
2 years you spent in there?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. That's why I got the 2 years.
Yeah,
Many
that's,
of these people came to Ann Arbor and played a concert for me, and 3 days later they let me out.
right, and this is, tomorrow, I'm not great at math, but 40, how many years ago was it?
50 years ago, didn't it?
71?
It was 41 years ago
41
last
years.
December that I got out.
Yeah.
It was 1972, the first hash dash that we were celebrating.
Now you write for
Michigan Medical Marijuana Report.
Yes, and I've been reading
Ben
your
Horn.
articles, and Ben is the, what are you, the owner of the magazine? You started it? How long ago did you start it?
Over 2 years ago. Yeah, I just did number 25, so that's 25 months.
Yeah, so,
And they were already going, right?
yeah,
So
so
we're just coming out there.
just coming out, yeah.
So
So,
the first column was for the hash dash 2 years ago.
So why is it important to have these types of magazines out there and have that for the community?
well, you know, this country's foundation is on writing, you know, and that's how we've been able to, you know, try to find our way and you know, with this idea of the social experiment of democracy. And
Fire shit.
Yep.
And that's really what they're, and to help us attack these people who are keeping
That's it.
fire shit. Or the ones, you know, I mean, it's all geopolitical.
That's the beautiful thing about, you know, independent magazines like that.
We can still get away with it. That's the important thing, is where you can get away with it, let's do it.
Or an internet, you know,
Right.
TV show, like the ones.
Yeah.
I like that you found the word for that. I call it a podcast, and it upsets her every time. She's like, it's not a podcast, we're bigger than that, we're on public access
Yeah,
now.
we got podcasts.
You
Well,
know,
I am podcasting, I love podcasting.
yeah, I think
I got my own radio station,
yeah.
which I'm kind of proud of. And we started doing what we do before podcasting.
Are you podcast pioneers?
That's what some call us. My 38th program was podcast.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we've been doing it almost for a year before. But podcasts, when they started that, it was great, 2004. deliver podcasts.
Right.
And then we put it on YouTube.
It's like a newspaper.
So they'll be reminded that you had a new show.
Yeah.
Now you
Now I
got
get
it
to
all
do
hooked
that.
up with the iTunes store. And all that.
Right, commercialized the more it's
Yeah, and then
press.
ABC News has a podcast.
Yeah.
And then the rich people just came in and pushed us out of the way.
Well, it's a
But
good
they always
idea.
do.
There's gonna be people coming in there trying to take it over and play off it.
Yeah.
You know what I like about your Radio Free Amsterdam is the cultural relevance. You know, and it seems like, you know, with all this media that we have out there and all of these different causes, you know, sometimes we lose the cultural relevance. You know, today at Creole Fest, there's lots of cultural relevance there.
Yeah, very good.
And the more we can entertain people with something better than the crap that's being put out there by mainstream media, the more people that we're going to have watch our programs and read our publications and come to our events.
And get the benefit of our thinking and our experience, which is why people write and create art and try to share that with others. Well, you know, I was saying earlier today that when I looked around and thought about what can you do in today's world that would help people from a position of having no means, just a citizen. And I thought, man, what they really need is some good music. Because when you look around today, good music is hard to find.
Sure.
And they certainly aren't selling many. And all the hours and countless thousands of hours of podcasts and all this stuff, to me it's not inspiring people, and it's not really giving them a rhythmic experience that's going to compel them to do something worthwhile. So I thought to put out some really good music and make it available for nothing on a regular basis. Probably the best thing I could do. Plus, it's what I like to do besides.
Yeah, but do you ever get in trouble though from people who own the music rights, or do you work with them, or how does that? Maybe we shouldn't talk about that. Is that
Yeah, let's leave that out.
Okay.
I feel morally, I feel very clean in this area because I don't charge anything for it. I don't get any money for it.
Well, if you don't get any money for it, then.
So sue me. I don't have any money. I'm a pauper. I don't even pay rent. I don't even have a place of my own. So it's hard to. I'm a proverbial case of trying to get some blood out of a turnip. You know? You can get some turnip greens off the top, but you aren't gonna get no blood. But I just think morally, the idea of that is that you're depriving people of money that's rightfully theirs for their artistic product. But you know, most of the music I play, it's either made by friends of mine or people that I'm, contemporaries with that are happy to have somebody play their records. Or it's from people who are dead. And I'll bet you one thing, these record companies that are taking in all the money from Madonna and 50 Cent and Justin Timberlake, they aren't giving
like
no
Happy
money
Birthday.
to the family of Clay McFadder or little Willie John.
But they'll still be
The
making money,
people-
royalties off of them.
I think that
Yeah, well,
was,
they're making it, but I don't think they're passing it on, so I don't think by me not giving them any, I'm not depriving little Willie John's great-grandchildren getting paid because the people aren't gonna give him the money anyway.
right, I'm sure that's what he wanted, you know, in his lifetime. You want to be known after you die anyways. You
Well,
want
that's
your art to
important.
live on, so if someone's willing to invoke that, bring
Well,
you back.
basically, my bottom line is I don't charge anything for it, I don't make anything on it, I do it out of the goodness of my heart, and because it makes me happy. And so, sue me.
So,
She says we have 5 minutes.
what's
5 minutes.
what are some tips you want to give young people in Flint that want to do something with their lives, want to do something different, they want to be a part of
Wanna
social
be,
change, they want to be like you? How
Just
would
do
you
it.
Make it.
Just do it?
Make a difference.
That would be great.
You challenging me now, because usually I say, kids, don't try to figure out what you want to do, and then you have to figure out how to do it, and three-step process to me. And whatever it takes, you can figure it out. Because we're humans and we have this thing, this brain, you know. And to do what you want to do. Don't settle for doing shit you don't want to do.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
And the way you can do this, the key to it, I hate to say this, but you have to take the vow of poverty. You have to realize that what you're going to do is more important than money.
Yeah.
And that your happiness is going to come from doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And not from getting a bunch of money, then you got to worry about somebody's trying to take it away from you. Or you want to get more and more like these rich people. How much is enough? How many $1 million does a motherfucker need?
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's great. That's great advice.
And it's the only way, if you take, I call it the vow of poverty, but if you just realize you ain't going to get necessary, you could make a lot of people in computers and games and
There's always a
software.
vacancy. I mean, he's probably making
Sometimes
some
these people make billions of dollars off their good ideas. But most of the time, if you trace it back to like Steve Jobs or somebody like that, they didn't start out thinking they were going to be the richest Bill Gates. He didn't start out thinking he was going to be the richest guy in the world. I was trying to figure out how could I get this software to people that they can do things with it, you know? So, I mean, it isn't necessary to not get paid.
But don't expect a lot.
Yeah, but if you don't expect it, I mean, just if you focus on what you want to do and what you want to create, you're not worried about getting paid if you're an artist. You can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you start worrying about getting paid, then you're like a pop group. You're trying to shape your stuff to what they're playing on the radio. Man, that's unhappiness.
Yeah.
I don't think these people are happy. And then if they make $1 million, they don't seem very happy either.
Yeah.
They're on some kind of negative drug trip, or you know, I don't know. They don't seem to be having as much fun as you and I are having.
Yeah.
Doing the little things we like to do.
Well, when you become famous too, you lose your
anonymity.
Yes. And does it make it more difficult for you to live your life? And
I think so. Yeah.
So I just have one more big question that's killing me. It's word.
Oh, thanks.
And it's.
That's so authentic. I love it.
No, I mean, I consider myself a poet as well, and I guess, is that something that always sticks with you, or are you always going to write poetry?
God willing.
God willing, right. And,
poetry, yeah, I write journalism, which is work. I write journalism on a deadline.
Damn deadlines.
If they didn't have the deadlines, you wouldn't write a damn thing.
Right.
I know I would. Whereas poetry is a gift from God. That's the way I look at it. Inspiration. You write something exactly the way that you feel like it. Make it look like it. You know, I mean, there's no restrictions on poetry. You can make up whatever, a poem is whatever you want it to be.
yeah.
And you don't have to deliver it. In fact, you'll have a hard time getting people to even take them.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah. It's that way with everything.
But again, if you want to do it, you got to do it. What I like to do is compose a poem, and then, because I'm a composer of verse, I'm not a spoken word artist. I'm not making it up as I go along. I create these words in verse, in the poetic tradition. And then I like to set up to music and play it with musicians, because my work really is rooted in music.
Right, you're a jazz poet.
Jazz and blues also, and just music, And I'm an odist, which means I write songs of praise to artists that have inspired me. Muddy Waters, on and on. So poetry to me is fun. writing something for a magazine is hard work. It's like they say about writing, you just open up a vein and let it bleed, you know.
You're still reading poetry?
Yeah, sure.
So what's the next big step for you?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. The real benefit.
One day at a time. I'm like a alcoholic. I'm like one day at a time.
Sure. Well, it's been a real pleasure. I really appreciate you guys.
Easy does it.
What?
I was gonna say we should do the peace out, but you know, actually we usually do it with the music, but it'd be kind of fun to do it.
Yeah,
here,
of
wouldn't
course. John
Let's do it. You
Sinclair.
ready?
You always dump some music.
We always end up.
Peace out. Peace out.
Peace out.
Well, we've been back.
Wow, that is great. Wasn't that a lot of? That was so much fun.
Yeah, what a cool trip we did.
I'm glad that it all worked
You know
out.
John too, right?
Yeah, yeah. John's always a real interesting person to mix it up with. Great poet.
Totally.
Yeah.
Didn't you play for him too, so that he could
Yeah,
recite his poetry?
Long ago, Globe and Corey and all those guys used to play with him quite a bit. So a couple different times, Rootstand backed John up on some other dates that they were unavailable and got to know him that way.
Was he hard to work with? Was he easy to work with?
No, never. John was super easy to work with. Always just real mellow, you know.
Totally.
Yeah. In fact, he is a big, I believe, a Mingus fan. Charles Mingus, bass player and jazz great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And of course, Rootstand's like a, you know, kind of a pub rock band. He's like, you guys know any Mingus? You know, and I was like, no, but I know this traditional tune called "The Road to Lisdoonvarna." You know, I just played the melody through a couple times, and he's like, "That'll work. Go for it."
Oh, and hey, if you haven't noticed, we've had a guest with us.
Yeah.
This is Brant.
Hey everybody,
Great for Rootstand.
nice to be here in Flint today. Sunny afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rare one since winter began there. And
Yeah.
sunshine.
So we were talking about Rootstand, so what are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing a lot. We were just up north this past weekend, which was like sort of a shock because it's like mid-April and there's still 2 feet of snow. So
Oh, wow.
this is a real Michigan winter.
Where'd you guys go up there?
We played in Petoskey because we did a fundraiser for our sort of growing festival. We have this festival called the Root Nanny, and we bring a bunch of bands and local artists and stuff up there every year. It's the 9th year. It's in August, 2nd through 4th, but this event this past weekend was like a fundraiser for it. So
It's called a Root Nanny. It's in what month did you say it was again?
Root Nanny is August 2nd through 4th.
And it's in Petoskey?
It's between Petoskey and Traverse City. It's like on this Rocky Top cherry farm. It is like Torch Lake, if anybody knows what it is. Basically, if you go north out of Traverse City, past like the resort, Grand Traverse Resort, the really big building on the right, it's like taller than anything. If you ever in Traverse City, you just keep going past the really big resort building, about 25 miles, and you couldn't miss it.
Was it the kind of thing that you could go online and get tickets for and then go to? Is it a camp out thing then?
Yep, it's on again on a cherry farm, but it's also like a designated nature preserve. So it's like this really, really large natural amphitheater, and it's like about 3 or 4 miles off of Lake Michigan. And camping, lots of camping. Again, great bands, cherry orchards. Last year, it was September when we did our festival. We moved it forward to kind of get the summer weather thing going. So, but the Northern Lights were amazing.
You could see the Northern Lights?
Yeah. Oh yeah, brilliant Northern Lights up there. Yeah, great beaches. We've got some of our main acts are, of course, Rootstand's going to be there for 3 nights. And then we have this guy, Cecil Daniels, and he is like a sax player. He's like an older guy from San Francisco who plays like this electronic saxophone. I don't know if you've ever seen one. Basically like an electric sax.
Sounds dangerous.
It's cool. Just plugs in, it's got buttons.
You then put your mouth on it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, you do. You have to breathe through it somehow. But anyway, he's played with like all these big bands from the past, so Widespread Panic and Leftover Salmon and Strength Cheese Incident, all these huge rock and roll bands. But he's a friend of one of the bands that we have coming. There's a band called Sweet Melissa from Ann Arbor. And just so happens that Melissa is like an old friend of his. So he's coming out as a guest, and then we've got Covert, which is like a local, you know, roots rock champions, of course, from the Flint.
Kedry, I think, is going to be on our show next month.
Kedry's other band, Thick as Thieves, will be there. UV Hippo, which is like from Grand Rapids, they're like an electronic-based band that's like really kind of blowing up on the national scene. Bringing those guys in. And Seth Bernard, which is a folk singer. You may have heard of Seth in May, and they're kind of like the folk champions of Michigan. They have their own festival called Harvest Gathering. So, yeah, so it's busy. So even though it's April and our festival is in August, it's our #1 priority right now. It's like organizing the permits and the bands and like all the facilities and then doing all kinds of fundraising. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that.
Totally. So where do people get tickets at?
Our website at the moment. If you even go to our Facebook page, there's links right to our website. There's pre-sale tickets there. So other than that, at our shows. And soon, probably by the end of the month, all the bands will have tickets available as well. So can't miss it, really.
For sure.
And if somebody wanted to buy your CDs and stuff, they could probably find them on the same sites.
Yep, and then Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, Mog Radio, all that stuff's active for us. I'm not sure we're on Pandora at the moment, but we work with a record label in Ypsilanti in our area called Oddfellow, and it's Ben Lorenz, who is the drummer for the October Babies.
Oh yeah.
Coco Santos, remember her?
Yeah.
In that band. So their band has a record label that 6 or 7 other bands are signed to, and they do all of our digital distribution, which is like, you know, Spotify.
They make some really cool videos too, the digital, you know,
so
they're great.
Very cool. So what kind of shows do you guys got coming up?
Well, let's see. Next weekend we're going to be in TC. It's Matt's birthday, so we're playing Union Street Station, which is like one of the best jam joints in Traverse City. And it's where we were on St. Patty's Day, which was just a total riot, you know. But we'll be there Friday night, the 19th, and the Cabbage Shed on the 20th. Cabbage Shed is like out in like Sleeping Bear Dunes. It's like a seaside pub.
That's kind of the ritzy area there too, isn't it? Over in that.
There's some areas like that. Cabbage Shed is very grassroots. It's like, it literally is this like 100-year-old produce warehouse. It was like a warehouse that the freighters or whoever would bring the produce from Michigan actually docked there, and there was these huge coolers, and you know, 100 years later it's a pub, but it still has all these old timbers and this like nautical kind of feel, and very cool. Not only legends of its own, but I mean, we're part of it. We've been playing there for like 10 years and have had just some crazy adventures.
You'll be haunting that one day too.
Yeah. Great
Guinness. That guy
lots of Guinness flowing there.
Playing the guitar.
So other than that, we've got some unique stuff coming up. We're doing like a show for Shorts Brewing Company, but it's down in Detroit. It features, it's like at a local place in Wayne, but it's like a Shorts Brewing Company dig, so that's pretty fun. That's in May. Same day, I'm playing at the Eber and Friends show at the Ark in Ann Arbor, which is Erin Zindel from the Ragbirds. She's throwing a kids show. It's a kids festival. It's 2 days at the Ark, and it's all artists like myself with children. And everybody's playing like 3 songs and sort of orienting their music towards kids, and it's like the first event of its kind really. So
it's awesome.
I've been asked to be part of that. May 11th.
May 11th.
At the Ark. I mean, that one will probably sell out. You would just want to contact the Ark for tickets. I really think with Aaron's like, you know, following there and the type of show will probably be packed. May 5th is interesting, if you don't mind me telling you guys this. May 5th is like Waterhill Festival. Waterhill is a neighborhood in Ann Arbor, like Kersley Park would be here, right? And they throw a festival in Waterhill. Waterhill is actually aptly named because it's like one of the larger hills in Ann Arbor. And at the top of it is a water treatment plant. And actually for like city water, you know, this is an issue in Flint, you know, with, I don't know if we currently purchase from Detroit still.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you would have may, I mean, Ann Arbor has somehow avoided that and has like a facility of their own that provides people with pretty clean water. So anyway, it just so happens, it's not a high-end neighborhood in terms of like home value or anything. It's pretty grassroots. But in this Waterhill neighborhood is like 70 musicians, ranging from somebody who just plays on his porch and enjoys music and is just learning, all the way to like Ron Brooks, who's like a jazz legend, and Dick Siegel is like probably maybe 60, 55 years old, somewhere in there, but he's like a really big folk singer that came from Ann Arbor and had extensively toured and stuff. So there's like real pros. Just so happens that Matt, our drummer, lives right in this neighborhood, and his wife's like grandma owned the house they live in. So we set up this huge stage out in his front yard. It's totally legal and sanctioned by the city. You know how it is.
And
so we set up.
festival.
Yep. And there's actually a website, waterhill.org, and there's like a calendar of events that you can walk around this whole neighborhood and see all these different performances.
So you guys are just like sprouting roots all over on in Michigan.
Yeah. We're really trying to seek out unique gigs and maybe limit some of the stuff that's become sort of commonplace, you know, for our
It depends. New audiences too, and
somewhat, yeah, you know, different things. We're definitely going to try to. We just got another bus about a month ago, and that bus is more appropriate for out-of-state travel and touring long distances and stuff like that, which we've done in the past with great struggle. You know, like our old bus was barely making it over the mountains, overheating.
So are you starting to get this little following, sort of like fish from festival to festival?
Yeah, in a very miniature,
Just wondering.
In a little miniature kind of way, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we get bigger and bigger.
Well, whatever it is, I mean, it's a lifelong process, and I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, so it's so fun.
I heard you also getting some fulfillment out of writing stories too. But you write your own music, right?
Right.
And when I was reading, I got to read his book, and it kind of.
Did you read the short story or the whole long piece?
Oh, I don't know. Was there two of them?
Well, was it like an 8 or 9 page story? So I thought I just sent you a short story.
Maybe you sent me a short story. There's a longer version?
Well, I have
to pay for that one though.
I can tell you. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, well anyway, the short story, the story that I read, it reminded me of your music. I mean, like when I listened to the lyrics, like the pirate lyrics, that kind of, although it was like an Irish pub kind of feeling to it, but it was like that story that runs through your music is sort of like the story that I read. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was very exciting because it has this really interesting ending.
So I feel out of the loop. I haven't read it. Can you tell me about it?
Well, what I sent Jennie, and I want to thank her for encouraging me a lot to continue to publish in that way, because I put so much energy, as she said, into playing music and writing music that it's hard to devote enough time to really publish and revise the type of stuff we're talking about. Even though, hence the tie, I am an English teacher at Moench College here in Flint. You know, I spend all my extra time either doing part of administration for my classes and correcting papers, or playing with Rootstand. Okay, that's the fundamental topic of my longer thesis project. The big part, which is like 150 pages, is called Welcome to Shamrock, and the subtitle is Pubs, Pints, and Pipe Dreams. And it is basically sort of an adventure tale that deals with a lot of post-colonial issues that come up in like blues music and Irish music, you know, cultural comment, looking to the past to explain the present type stuff. You know, it's called post-colonialism, whether it's either in literature or in music. So that's kind of based upon my life, is the main work. But the short story that I believe I gave you was based upon my great-grandfather on my mom's side, who had been born in Cavan, Ireland, and he came to New York City. He was a fireman for a year. Then he went back to Ireland, and he got his wife, and then he went back to Detroit because he got a job working in the factory. I mean, they were leaving at that time. It was like 40s or something. So anyway, she had died. Great-grandma had died 2 weeks after arriving in Detroit, giving birth to my grandma. So that's what was kind of inspired this thing, is that this other woman who was like the sister of one of my great-grandfather's friends back in Ireland had lost her husband, so this guy, this brother-in-law type person, paired them up. So my mom grew up with this grandma, who was really her surrogate grandma.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And it's kind of confusing, but my great-grandfather outlived both of them. So the premise of the short story, which was like basically if you had been married to more than one person in that sense, which really kind of was a divorce. And then you died, and you went to heaven, presumably. Like, are both your wives waiting there for you when you get to heaven? You know what I mean? It's kind of like a comic Irish joke in a way, you know? So the premise of that, the short story Dead Man's Wives, is about basically this grandfather figure based upon my great-grandfather in Detroit and listening to the Tigers in 1968 and basically realizing that essentially they had not lost all summer. At some point, 68, the Tigers did win the World Series. But basically, there was like a transition somewhere in this story that he had actually died. And
I didn't want to tell the
it was
ending.
kind of like, oh, I'm sorry.
Well, don't tell the ending. That's why I was just sitting there thinking, he's not going to tell the ending, is he? No.
It's okay. You tell the short story so you read the long thesis, right?
Yeah, they're related themes.
But
Okay.
it was so much fun to read that and have all that stuff just happen. And
So are you still working on it, or are you publishing the thesis?
Well, it's published in the short form, meaning there's a copy in the U of Flint library for anybody who want to check out. You know, but other than that, the main body, the longer work based upon my life, needs like editing. You know, there's like a lot of stuff that I didn't feel was like done yet with it. Short story can be published anytime, and that's what we're kind of talking about. Is getting. I want to have like a pamphlet version, you know, really low budget but kind of professional looking.
Sort of like one of your little.
It's about 10 pages. Maybe I think it's actually like 20 pages, but.
I thought it was the size of the CD cover. It would be nice. Maybe you could even wrap them together at some time and call it a package and charge
Something
them
like that.
for
But
it.
when I did this whole thesis project at U of M, I went to my advisor, and part of the requisite for a thesis project that is written is that you have to perceive your audience, which is like a big part of the whole kind of mission of English programs, I think, at this point. In some part. But perceiving that audience, I was like, unique in that I was like, well, I actually have like sort of a literal audience for playing music. And I wrote this thing based upon it's about kind of about academic exile. It's like living in the world of roots music and roots rock in a sense is like putting you sort of in opposition of like being in a classroom and like teaching about culture in more academic ways, you know. So anyway, I said basically I have this audience, which is people who come to our shows and already appreciate our music, and they went for it. So in a composition program, I created a totally creative work, which is something I was kind of trying to explain earlier when we were talking about writing programs. And like right now in my class at Mott, one of two classes teaching or is writing these narrative argument papers. And basically, a narrative argument paper is a story. You know, like when basically, you take a story of any kind, it's all over television. The point is that when something like that looks like entertainment tries to teach you something and has like an argument that they're convincing you of, through, like for example, we talked about examples of this kids movies, like this one, like you ever seen Avatar? Okay, it's like about like going to another planet. And there's like all this comment about like native cultures and ecology. They're trying to teach you about something.
Yeah.
So that's the essence of a narrative essay. So
Does all of this help you with your music writing too, do you feel?
it does. I mean, again, you've even observed that it isn't disconnected. And it's really exhausting, to be honest, in a lot of ways. But I am so in both worlds, and they're like literally.
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love it, but it's like I'm always like, oh, well, maybe I should just teach for a while, or I should just play music for a little bit.
That would drive you crazy.
No, I wouldn't. I can't really do it. I have to do both, and it's like a precarious balance. Anyway, that is the premise of Welcome to Shamrock. My larger book is like actually it's an account of sort of a roots rocker professor like caught in the balance of touring and like remaining sane.
Oh, you see, now I didn't read that, so when I would listen
That's
to
the
short
longer
story-
one. I gave you the short story, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Dead Man's
Well, I'll
Lives,
read
yeah.
both of them.
And just one more question. How close are you guys to finishing the map in Michigan?
Good question. I'm glad that
You know, in the
embarrassed
past few albums, if you guys don't know at home, Rootstand releases a little part of their pirate map with each one. I think they're up to 4 now.
We're working on the 4th now.
We're working on the 4th.
That would be the complete one then, wouldn't it?
It's actually not. You may have noticed that our map, after many years of being just the Lower Peninsula, has actually finally gotten like the Upper Peninsula. So like on Facebook and stuff, you can see the map, the whole map, but it finally includes the UP. So we're gonna release that someday as like a 1-disc set, but the idea is loosely like we're on disc 4, which is like the Kalamazoo quadrant,
Uh-huh.
and
And you'll have 2
that's
more.
gonna be kind of like pop. I don't want to say pop, but it's more like our approach to if we were to release songs on like mainstream radio, how would we record those?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like hip hop, pop. There's probably some like kind of Irish punk type tunes, but
Is it more something that they would listen to in Kalamazoo? Is that the idea?
no, it isn't really like that. Maybe it is nowadays. I don't know.
I don't think you thought that.
It could be prophetic. It's cool. In a way, it's always kind of been that way. I mean,
I think it's a,
Grassroot Ghetto was the first one. It was Detroit. It was kind of hip hop inspired. And then we did a super traditional album, Roots and Branches, which had Alpena on it, which is where I grew up. So that's pretty reasonable. And then this was the Irish Pub album, the third one, Rutabaga, which was like Traverse City and Beaver Island area, which is a lot of like Irish pub influence. The UP one, the 5th one, is going to be like country and blues and country blues. I don't know, it's going to be like a real kind of like North Mississippi All-Stars or Robert Randolph, a lot of slide guitar and some like kind of deep sounds on that level.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you already work on those tracks right now?
We're not recording those. I mean, I write stuff like that sometimes. I mean, I might actually play something like that. It's like my Gretsch is an open G tuning, so I'll probably play some type of like country blues tune.
Very cool.
Which is kind of like where my solo stuff has always been oriented around.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Now, when did you move to Flint? How many years ago was that?
I moved to Flint probably, let's see, maybe like 8 years ago or something like that.
Okay. So is there like a huge difference between, say, Alpena and the Flint, or
Well,
does that affect the music?
yeah, I mean, I guess so. But I mean, I went from Alpena to Ann Arbor, and then I lived outside of Seattle for a couple of years. Then I came back to Ann Arbor, finished my undergrad degree after like several years of just abandoning it and like it almost being like a problem. They kind of were like, if you don't come back right now and finish your degree, you will not graduate from here. And I was just like, I'm on a mountain somewhere. You know, as people end up in life.
I have an internet
I
class
came
on
back
my cell phone.
to Ann Arbor, and then after a little while, moved to Flint to do my master's. Been back in Ann Arbor like a year now. And I'm not sure what my next step is, but trying to perceive, it could be Detroit, because I perceive Detroit as being sort of one of our windows to like the national world.
Yeah, especially
Ann Arbor is, but in music, and particularly roots music, like it might be, and it seems inevitable, even considering the context of my short story. I've always felt like attracted to Detroit and like felt like I need to like be part of that. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. For now, Ann Arbor's a great spot. There's tons of musicians everywhere that are influencing our career already in positive ways. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Would you ever do the Flint part of the map? What would that sound like?
Well, the Flint part is, I believe, on Grassroot Ghetto.
That's part of that.
Yeah, it is the first one, which has got the hip hop kind of roots rock sound. So it's pretty appropriate. Yeah. So.
Well, I want to hear some music, but I think we got to do this fancy thing first.
Oh, yeah.
We'll remind everybody that the show is free, but we also appreciate underwriters, and for only $10 a month, you too could have your 60-second commercial or 30-second commercials on this show.
And you would be supporting a grassroots organization, Creative Alliance.
Yeah, one of those things. You got to read the cue cards better.
Yeah.
But let's go to that, and we'll come back with Brant. We'll have some music, all right?
Okay.
Page's Bookstore is locally owned and is located at 132 West 2nd Street in downtown Flint at Buckham Alley. Showcase for local authors and artists. Visit during the second Friday Art Walk.
Get a fresh start for yourself and your family by using your tax return to get rid of your debt. Hi, I'm attorney Fred Myers, and for over 25 years, I have been your local bankruptcy attorney helping you in our community. Eliminate your credit card debt, avoid your utility shutoff, and stop those harassing phone calls. Now's the perfect time to make a huge change in your life in a positive way. There's only one phone call you need to make, and that's 810-238-0900.
And now, here's Brant from Rootstand.
Thanks, Jennie. Nice to be here in Flint. Play a couple of country blues songs that sort of inspired Rootstand's music.
everybody that came on the show today. I want to thank John Sinclair. I want to thank Ben Horner. And of course, I want to thank Brant from Rootstand.
Pauly for being such an awesome
And of course, Pauly and Lily. So, here's us.
No, we did peace out with John Sinclair, but let's do it together too. We'll do it twice in the show. Ready? We'll do peace out, and then can we keep playing that after that? Okay. Ready? Okay. So peace out.
Peace out.
Would you want the footage?
Well, yeah, see, what it is that on the web, we can play longer.
Okay.
If you would like to.
Sure. You can get a copy of it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not today, but whenever you guys could. I mean, I'd like to use it or link it at least.
Yes,
Okay, here's one more. This is a Spike Driver Blues. It's an old traditional tune that was inspired by the tale of John Henry, you may have heard before. Man Against Machine. It's a long way from here, old Rocky Mountain, to my home, to my home, to my home. It's a long way from those old Rocky Mountains to my home, to my home, to my home. It's a long way from those old Rocky Mountains to my home, to my home, to my home. It's a long way from those old Rocky Mountains to my home, to my home, to my home. Take this hammer, woman, carry it to the captain. You can tell him I'm gone, that I'm gone, that I'm gone. Take this hammer, woman, carry it to the captain. You can tell him I'm gone, that I'm gone, that I'm gone. Is the hammer woman killed old John Henry? Won't kill me, won't kill me, won't kill me. Is the hammer woman killed old John Henry? Won't kill me, won't kill me, won't kill me. If he asks you, whoa, was I running? You can tell him I was flying, that I'm flying, that I'm flying. If he asks you, whoa, was I laughing? You can tell him I'm crying, that I'm crying, that I'm crying. Now I'm just having fun. I was playing my other guitar the other night, and I kept looking for this handle because I'd like play something, and I'd go to grab this thing. I had a different guitar. It wasn't there. All right.
The snuffles. I had the snuffles after we spent Friday together. It was Saturday I started to have
Spent Friday together, got the snuffles on Saturday.